Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review for the 30th anniversary. Another 30th anniversary movie review. And this one I'm releasing this film a bit. I'm releasing this review a bit early because this will be my Thanksgiving movie review. And I'm releasing this early because I have things to do. Of course, plans for Thanksgiving though, but that's why I'm releasing this early. So I will say Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Join with their families. But now they're doing the 30th anniversary film that came out on Thanksgiving weekend, and it's such a classic comedy, and it's definitely such a heartwarming. It's hilarious, but at the same time such a heartwarming film, and it stars Steve Martin and the late John Candy, and if our people already know about a film stars Steve Martin and John Candy, that is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. What more can I say? This is such a classic. This is my favorite film with John Candy, Steve Martin. Great performances. Between these two is the performance between these two is such a great chemistry. Now, directed by the late John Hughes, who the films that he directed I enjoy, especially the films as a writer as well. From 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, this film, Uncle Buck. Of course, in 1991, Curly Sue, which didn't do well. That was the last film he directed. Which, why? He could have directed another one, but essentially all the other hits that he had from the past. But as a writer, from the Home Alone films to The Great Outdoors, 101 Dalmatians, Beethoven. So, he did such a great job with this film. Now, the film did well for box office wise, but critical wise, has a 7.6 on IMDb. I would give it like an up rate in the upper eights. 92% Rotten Tomatoes. It deserves it. What can I say? It's a hilarious film. It's a classic. My parents both love this film, and John Candy, I miss him dearly. As every time when this film ends, it just saddens me. But anyway, I'll get to that though. But everyone knows about Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Steve Martin, he's in New York. He wants to head back to his family for Thanksgiving, back to Chicago, and he needs to get for starters he's trying to get a cab, and there's another guy who's trying to get a cab that he races for it, and that's Kevin Bacon. So you have a cameo appearance of Kevin Bacon, who races Steve Martin to get to the cab, which Kevin Bacon does get, and he tries to pay another guy off to get this cab that he was gonna get to, but then John Candy comes in with not knowing. He goes and takes his cab. So, but they meet each other at the airport. He's like, "Oh, it's like you stole my cab." "Oh no, I did. I never stole anything in my life." Oh, you're the one. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you. I'll buy a hot dog and a beer." "No, thank you." "How about just a hot dog?" "No." "Coffee?" "No." "Soda?" "No." "Milk?" "No." "Tea?" "No." "Lifesavers?" "No." And then when they get on the plane, and which they don't make it all the way, to Chicago. They're stuck in Wichita, and Steve Martin, he can't get anywhere else. But John Kay helped him with a room because he's a salesman, selling shower curtain rings. Gets him to this hotel where there's only one bed, and it's like funny lines like it's like, "Oh, John Kay's like, you shower? You shower first?" It's, "Oh no." It's like, "Oh no, you didn't think of that." "Oh, okay." Which, listen to the line I found was funny, and And then later during the night, um, when John Candy was trying to get clean out his sinuses, and Steve Martin is like scolding at him. It's like you have done nothing but been a pain ever since I met you. And I like that like John Candy, his character, who I enjoy. He's such a nice guy, a kind guy. He knows that he has admitted his mistakes, about his own personality. And I like the line where he says to Steve Martin, "It's like, you wanna hurt me? Go right ahead. If it makes you feel any better. I am an easy target. Yeah, you're right. I talk too much. And I also listen too much. I could be a cold-hearted cynic like you, but I don't like to hurt people's feelings. What do you think we want about me? I'm not changing. I like me. My wife likes me. My customers like me because I'm the real article. What you see is what you get." So that line just shows him like, yeah, he's not gonna change who he is. He knows he knows who he is, but he's not gonna change, make himself that he's not. So then in the middle of the night, a guy robs of their money, and by the morning, which you get this scene here where um Stephen was like, "Why are you kissing my ear?" And it's like John Kennedy's like, "Why are you holding my hand? Where's your other hand? Between two pillows. Those are not pillows." Ah! It's like, "Oh, did you catch that Bears game? Oh yeah, that was a good game." And when Steve Martin gets in the bathroom where he's washing his face, but he sees socks in the sink and he dries his face with a pair of underwear. He's like, um, and then one part, well, at least another where they were gonna go their separate ways, but Steve Martin, he gets on a train, but the train breaks down, and well, but what I know before that is that when they're eating and they notice that Steve Martin has no money, he's accusing John Candy's like, "I didn't take any money from you. Here, I got $200 and $263, and if it's a dollar more, then you can call me a thief." And he has no money. He's like, "We've been robbed." Steve was like, "Oh, do you think so?" They just have such fun back and forth with each other. I just enjoyed it. And but then, yeah, that's when Steve Martin, he gets on a train, it breaks down, so he meets with John Candy again, where they get on a bus, and there's a couple sitting next to them kissing each other, and Steve Martin's looking like, and the guy says, "Why don't you take a picture? It'll last longer." And John Candy's like, "You got busted." And then when they try to sing a song, like Steve Martin tries to sing a song, they don't like it. But then John Candy's like, "Let's sing the Flintstones, Flintstones, meet the Flintstones." Um, so they arrive in St. Louis, and Neil, Steve Martin's character, he tries to rent a car, and he goes to the part where where he gets keys and to the car, but the space is empty, and he's all furious. He he loses his hat, and he goes back to the teller, which this woman here, who was also in the Ferris Bueller's Day Off, she was working with Jeffrey Jones in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And this is when you get the classic scene. Definitely one of such a classic comedy scene. Because this is the reason why this film is rated R, right there. It's all because of Steve Martin. No other film in this film, no other scene in this film has an F-bomb except for this one scene, which makes this film rated R. And Steve Martin's like, "Oh, can I help you?" And Steve Martin's like, "Yes, you can start by wiping that fucking dumb smile off your rosy fucking cheeks. And you can give me a fucking automobile, a fucking Dustin, a Toyota, a fucking Toyota, a fucking Mustang, fucking Buick, a fucking 4 wheels and a seat." I know I'm not doing the best I can though, because I can't do any better what it says in the movie though, but I'm trying the best I can. Um, and I don't. It's like I really don't wait. I'm screwing it up. I really don't care the way you're speaking to me. And I don't really care the way your company left me in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking keys to a fucking car that isn't fucking there. And I really didn't care to fucking walk down a fucking highway across a fucking runway to get back here to have you smile at my fucking face. I want a fucking car right fucking now. May I see your rental agreement? I threw it away. Oh boy. Oh boy, what? You're fucked. I know I didn't do the best I could. I didn't do the best I can though, but it's such a classic funny scene with Steve Martin. It was just such hilarious. So he goes outside. He tells all this one guy and ends up getting punched in the face. He almost gets run over by John Candy, and John Candy tells that guy to help him up. And he grabs Steve Martin by his balls and um and as they're driving, Steve Martin's talking in a little bit high pitched voice because he got grabbed by his own nuts, and then they're switching back and forth about driving, and one leads to another where it's in the middle of the night and when Steve Martin's asleep, John Candy's he's smoking a cigarette and he's doing like playing with the radio, doing stuff, and he throws it out though, but it goes back into the back seat, and he gets his coat caught, and he's just like driving with his legs, and he gets it going the wrong way, but he's also driving up back where they came, and he's on the wrong side of the road, and two oncoming semis are approaching, and a couple on the other side of the road are saying, "You're going the wrong way." And Chunky's like, "Oh, they're drunk," and he's like doing this, and so he was like, "Truck, truck," and they both drive in between the trucks, and they both shows you see quick shots of them as skeletons, and John Candy as a devil, and then ultimately when they get out of the car because they lost the John Candy's trunk gets flown, and the car catches on fire, and Steve Martin's card was in his wallet, and because John Candy had it, he put it back in his wallet. He's like, "Are you mad at me?" Punches John Candy, and so they manage to. The car is still drivable. They get to a motel, and the Clark that they're talking to is Martin Ferrero, who plays the lawyer in Jurassic Park. Really enough, and Steve Martin is short on money, and he's like, "Have mercy. I've been wearing the same underwear since Tuesday." I can vouch for that. About $17 and a hell of a nice watch. Since John Candy doesn't have anything, he wants to sleep in the car, and you get that good piece of music by Newborn, where you have John Candy, which he's talking, he's like he's speaking for his wife Marie. Well, Marie, I really screwed up this time. And it's a good scene where John Candy like he's admitting his mistakes, like talking to his wife. But Steve Martin sees him out there, lets him in. They both are drinking together, talking, laughing. They just both have such good chemistry together. It really does. And so the next morning when John Candy's packing, he backs into the building, and Steve Martin's like, "Come on, come on." But then as they drive in, they get pulled over by a cop played by Michael McKean, Mr. Green from Clue. And it's not drivable, so it gets a towed. But John Candy, he manages to get another ride in a semi in the back. Rides it all the way to Chicago, and Steve Martin, he manages to get him on the train and says goodbye to him. And when he's on the train, he's thinking about his whole family at Thanksgiving dinner, but he's looking back on the funny times he had with John Candy. He's laughing, but he also remembers certain things that John Candy said, and like he's like, I haven't been home in years. And then another thing where Steve Martin told John Candy, he's like, unless you have a wife, you could grow old with. And John Candy was looking at like, so he's thinking about that. He goes back and sees him sitting alone at the station. He's like, "What are you doing here? Why don't you go home?" "I have no home. Marie's been dead for 8 years." And it's such a to me it's sad. I just felt sorry for him, and but Steve Martin brings him up to his house, introduces him to his whole family, and you have the song "Every Time You Go." And John Candy sees with Steve Martin with his wife, and then just and then the film ends with just freeze frames on John Candy smiling. And every time that when that film that's the freeze shot of John Candy and the film ends with that song playing, saddens me, gets me. Actually, starts making me tear up because as an ending that always gets me sad because it shows that John Candy he's now no longer with us, and I miss him dearly, as to a lot of people do. Just that ending, how it ended right there. It's just shows how much I miss the guy. I know. I didn't go all the way through this, but I didn't go through every single thing with it. Just some of most of the funny parts. But anyone's not seen this film, I highly advise to check it out. To anyone who's not seen this, and it's definitely a perfect time, right time to review it for Thanksgiving. Because it takes place around Thanksgiving. It's just I miss John Candy. I miss him dearly. It just saddens me every time how when it ends like that. It just makes me want to cry. It tears me up though, but it just makes me also want to cry. So just that's why it's my favorite role of John Candy. Like I said, Spaceball is my favorite comedy film, but this is my favorite film with John Candy. It's my favorite role of his. Like I said, he's a kind-hearted guy. He knows he's made mistakes, but he's such a kind heart. He has a kind heart, and he does understand why Steve Martin would get mad at him. All that, he doesn't blame him for that. So, but you just make it feel sorry for the guy too. I love John Candy. He just did a great job. Steve Martin. These two work wonderful together. Wonderful together. John Hughes did a great job for directing, producing, and helped write on the film. Score by Ura Newborn was good, especially that little piece of music that was during that one time when John Candy was out there sitting in the cold. And this is 92 minutes though, which is easily fast paced. But there's also the time where they wanted to make this like a 3 hour movie. I was like, wow, this is gonna be like a 3 hour film. I would like to see that. But it's a good road trip film. Definitely one of the best of the road trip films. Roger Ebert says it's a screwball comedy with a heart. Definitely agree with that. It definitely does have a heart, especially heartwarming with John Candy's character. And this is the laughs. It's such a fun. It's hilarious. It's funny. Like Steve Martin singing when he was mouthing off to the clerk, or those aren't pillows. Ah. Uh, I miss John Candy. He These two together made the film work so well. But when John Candy's gone, it just feels like it's missing him. But I don't know what more I can say. It was definitely worth reviewing for a 30th anniversary film. Definitely worth deserves it. It's such a classic. My dad, my mom love the movie. I love the movie. It is definitely. I just can't believe it's been 30 years, and it's still enjoyable to this day. I still love it to this day. Love Steve Martin. Miss John Candy dearly. It's funny, hilarious, and does have a good heart with it. It just it just won't be the same without John Candy. That's why this film is saddens me because when the film ends, it makes me tear up every single time when the film ends. because it's sad. It makes me sad. Just when they ended with John Candy, just like. But at the same time, yeah, I don't. It's just I don't going to go on too long with this, but it's funny. It shows like that John Candy he can also do drama as well. Like I said, like in Only the Lonely, which I reviewed not that long ago, he can do drama. John Hughes, may rest in peace, did a great job with the film. It's just it's a good time to watch on Thanksgiving. That's why this is my Thanksgiving movie review. I know I'm doing this. I put this review early though, but like I said, I have things to do for Thanksgiving though. So Thanksgiving. This is my Thanksgiving / 30th anniversary movie review of the classic Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Love this film still this day, and I know a lot of people still do enjoy this film too. But everyone remembers John Candy will always be missed. But thanks for all the films, the films for making us laugh. He always seemed like such a kind-hearted guy, and he'll always be missed. So yeah, the 30th anniversary of the classic Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Definitely 2 thumbs up. I highly recommend to watch this. You'll laugh and you'll even cry as well, like me. I'm not afraid to admit it. Yeah, when the film ended, it makes me want to cry. But it has such a heartwarming charm, and these two wonderful together, without a doubt. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. And once again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Later.